Have you ever wondered if the ancient prophecies still hold relevance in our world today? What if the voices of the past were not just whispers lost to time, but rather messages meant to guide us through the turbulence of the future? These questions echo through the corridors of history, where the forest ellings of ancient seers, from Nostradamus to the Oracle of Delphi, have shaped the way we view the world. Centuries ago, civilizations like the Maya, Egyptians, and Greeks left behind cryptic texts, etched into stone or passed down orally, that seemed to predict events that came to pass. But how much of these prophecies were truly foreseen, and how much of them are our own interpretations of the past? One thing is certain, the ancient world was filled with people who understood the power of foresight. They believed in the patterns of the stars, the movement of the earth, and the cycles of time as indicators of what was to come. In a world where the future often seems unpredictable, where the pace of change accelerates each day, could there be something we can learn from these ancient visions? Is it possible that the lessons of the past, embedded in these prophecies, offer us a roadmap for surviving and thriving in today's chaotic and fast-moving world? This story isn't just about the ancient past, but about how the echoes of those distant voices can still resonate with us today. It is a journey to understand how the fulfillment of these prophecies might not be confined to dusty old books but could be unfolding all around us. A journey to explore how we, in this modern age, can apply the wisdom of ancient seers to navigate the complexities and challenges we face today. And so, as we stand at the crossroads of history, let us take a step back, look at the signs, and ask ourselves, what do these prophecies mean for us? And how can we use their insights to build a better future? As we step into the heart of the story, it's essential to understand why prophecies from the distant past continue to captivate us. Why do we look at ancient predictions, some of which are thousands of years old, and wonder if they were truly meant for us? And why does the idea of ancient knowledge seem so timeless, so relevant, as if the past is always speaking to us from the shadows? The ancient world was filled with people who believed deeply in the power of foresight. Whether it was the stars, the movement of the planets, or the rhythms of nature, they saw these as signs that could foretell the future. They were not just mystics or dreamers, they were deeply observant of the world around them. And their prophecies often reflected the struggles and aspirations of their time. Take, for example, the famous Nostradamus, whose cryptic quatrains have been the subject of debate for centuries. His predictions, written in the 16th century, are believed by many to have predicted major historical events, such as the rise of Napoleon, the French Revolution, and even the September 11th attacks. But what is it that makes his words resonate with us today? What is the connection between a 16th century French astrologer and the modern world? Nostradamus, like many other seers, often spoke in riddles. His language was intentionally vague, allowing his prophecies to be interpreted in countless ways. This ambiguity allowed his followers, and even skeptics, to find meaning in his words long after they were written. It's this very mystery that makes his work so enduring. After all, if you look hard enough, you can find parallels between his writings and nearly any significant event in history. But there's a deeper lesson to be learned from Nostradamus and others like him. Beyond the mysticism and intrigue lies a lesson in perspective and flexibility. The ancient seers didn't just predict specific events, they predicted cycles, patterns of rise and fall, peace and war, prosperity and ruin. They understood that the world moves in cycles, that history repeats itself, and that the present moment is just a fleeting instance within a much larger arc. The cycle of change, what the prophecies teach us about today. In today's world, we face a pace of change that feels faster and more overwhelming than anything the ancient world could have ever imagined. Technology advances at breakneck speed, the economy shifts unpredictably, and geopolitical tensions can escalate without warning. It can often feel like we're on the edge of something unknown, much like the prophets of old were when they gazed into the future. But just like them, we too can find guidance by understanding the cycles of change. Take, for instance, the modern-day challenge of climate change. It's a phenomenon that many people feel powerless to stop, yet it is undeniably one of the defining challenges of our time. If we look back at ancient prophecies, we can see a recurring theme: the balance of nature, the consequences of environmental disruption, and the lessons learned from civilizations that rose and fell based on their relationship with the earth. The ancient Mayans, for example, had a deep understanding of the cycles of time and nature. Their calendar, which famously ended in 2012, was not a prediction of the apocalypse, as many believed, but rather a reminder that time is cyclical and that civilizations must be in harmony with nature to thrive. When the Mayans abandoned their great cities, it was not because of an invasion or a sudden disaster, but because they could no longer sustain their agricultural system due to environmental factors, such as drought. This is not so different from the climate crises we face today, where our ability to sustain life on Earth is being tested by overconsumption, pollution, and unsustainable practices. In this sense, the Mayan prophecy about the end of one cycle and the beginning of another can be seen as a metaphor for our current moment. Just as the Mayans faced the consequences of their environmental missteps, we too are at a crossroads, where our decisions today will shape the world for generations to come. The lesson here is clear: the choices we make now will determine the course of our future. And we must act with foresight and wisdom, just as the ancient seers did. The relevance of ancient wisdom in modern business. The connection between ancient prophecies and the modern world goes beyond environmentalism. In fact, the wisdom embedded in these ancient texts can provide invaluable lessons for those navigating the complex world of business and leadership today. Take, for example, the story of the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. Historians and economists often point to the Roman Empire as a classic example of how a society can thrive and then collapse due to a failure to adapt to changing circumstances. The empire's initial success came from its ability to build strong infrastructure, a sense of civic duty, and an adaptable economy. However, over time, the empire became complacent, distracted by luxury and indulgence, and unwilling to face the growing challenges on the horizon. The result? The Roman Empire crumbled under the weight of its own contradictions. When we look at today's businesses, we see echoes of this same pattern. Many successful companies begin with a clear mission, strong values, and a willingness to innovate. But over time, as companies grow larger and more established, they can become complacent, focusing more on maintaining their current success than on adapting to the rapidly changing environment around them. Companies that fail to anticipate market shifts, technological innovations, and changing consumer preferences often find themselves left behind. The lesson from ancient Rome is clear: in order to sustain long-term success, businesses must remain agile, adaptable, and willing to confront the challenges of the present moment, just as the Romans failed to recognize the signs of their own decline. Modern leaders must learn to read the signs of change around them and act proactively rather than reactively. Prophecies are not just about foretelling the future, they are about recognizing the patterns of behavior that lead to success or failure. The power of resilience, ancient wisdom for modern times. In the face of uncertainty and chaos, one of the most important lessons we can learn from ancient prophecies is the power of resilience. While the world may seem unpredictable and out of our control, the ancient seers understood that resilience, the ability to adapt and bounce back from hardship, is the key to survival and success. Consider the story of the ancient city of Troy. The fall of Troy, famously told in Homer's epic, the Iliad and the Odyssey, is often viewed as a story of tragic fate. However, Troy's resilience in the face of impending doom is also a powerful lesson. The Trojans believed they could withstand anything, even the Greek siege. They were ultimately tricked by the famous Trojan horse. But the resilience of their people and their city, though flawed, was a testament to the enduring human spirit. In our modern world, we can draw inspiration from Troy's resilience, even if it was ultimately undermined by hubris. It teaches us that no matter the crisis, whether it's a personal setback, an economic downturn, or a global pandemic, our ability to bounce back depends on how we interpret the events around us and how we choose to respond. Resilience doesn't mean avoiding failure or hardship, it means facing these challenges with strength and determination, learning from them, and using them to fuel growth. Just like the ancient civilizations who had to rebuild after disasters, we too can learn to rebuild, adapt, and thrive as we continue our journey through the ancient prophecies and their relevance to the modern world. It's crucial to understand that these ancient seers were not simply predicting events, they were warning us about the inevitable cycles of change, growth, and decay. Their wisdom provides us with a map for navigating the storms of life. But in today's fast-paced, often chaotic world, how do we apply these lessons without falling prey to the very forces they foresaw? The predictability of change. One of the greatest insights ancient prophecies offer is the predictability of change. The world is in a constant state of flux, and understanding this fundamental truth can help us approach life and business with a sense of calm and preparedness. While no one can predict the future with absolute certainty, prophecies teach us to recognize patterns, the rise and fall of civilizations, the shifting of power, the natural cycles of life, and use these insights to guide our actions. Consider the story of the ancient oracle at Delphi in Greece, which was renowned for offering prophetic insights to kings, warriors, and common people alike. The oracle's prophecies were often cryptic, yet they had a profound impact on the decisions of those who sought her guidance. One famous prophecy was given to King Croesus of Lydia, who asked whether he should go to war with Persia. The oracle famously told him, "If you cross the river, a great empire will fall." Croesus, interpreting this as a sign of victory, led his army into battle, only to be defeated, and the great empire that fell was his own. The lesson here isn't about the futility of trusting prophecies, but rather about the importance of interpretation and preparation. Croesus' downfall wasn't caused by the prophecy itself, but by his inability to fully understand the deeper meaning behind the words. This lesson applies to us today. We must recognize the signs of change and understand their deeper implications before making decisions. The ability to interpret the world around us is crucial in navigating the unpredictability of modern life. In business, for example, companies that fail to recognize the early signs of market shifts, technological disruptions, or consumer changes are often caught unprepared. Like Croesus, they may interpret surface-level signs as indicators of success, only to find themselves blindsided when the world changes beneath them. Prophecies remind us that we must be vigilant, perceptive, and adaptable in the face of change. The shadow of hubris, learning from history's mistakes. Another common theme in ancient prophecies is the danger of hubris, pride and overconfidence. Many civilizations and rulers fell not because they didn't foresee the future, but because they refused to heed the signs of their decline. Ancient prophecies, in many ways, are warnings against the arrogance of assuming that success will last forever. The downfall of the Roman Empire is a classic example of this. The Romans were once masters of the known world, building an empire that spanned continents. Yet, they became so complacent in their power that they failed to recognize the internal rot that was festering within their system. Corruption, economic instability, and a lack of innovation led to their eventual collapse. The Roman Empire's inability to adapt to the changing needs of its people and the external threats it faced provides us with a crucial lesson for modern businesses and societies. Today, we live in a world where rapid advancements in technology, global interconnectedness, and shifting geopolitical landscapes require constant adaptation. Businesses, governments, and individuals who fail to embrace change and remain humble in the face of uncertainty are at risk of falling into the trap of hubris. The lessons of ancient civilizations remind us that no empire, no matter how powerful, is invincible. Take the example of modern tech giants. While companies like Blockbuster and Kodak once dominated their industries, their refusal to adapt to the digital revolution and changing consumer preferences led to their downfall. In contrast, companies like Apple and Amazon thrive because they constantly innovate and embrace change. Even when their market dominance is threatened, the key takeaway is that humility and adaptability are critical to long-term success. Prophecies caution us against the dangers of thinking we are invulnerable, urging us to remain flexible and aware of the forces at play in our lives and businesses. The power of resilience, bouncing back from adversity. One of the most profound lessons we can learn from the ancient prophecies is the power of resilience. History is filled with stories of civilizations that faced great calamities, wars, plagues, and natural disasters, but managed to rebuild and come back stronger. This resilience is not just about surviving adversity, it's about learning from hardship and using it to fuel future growth. In ancient Egypt, the story of the pharaohs is one of incredible resilience. Over the centuries, Egypt endured numerous invasions, environmental disasters, and political upheavals, yet, it continued to rise again and again, rebuilding its cities and reasserting its dominance in the region. This resilience was not just about physical strength, but also about a profound understanding of the cycles of life and death, creation and destruction. Today, resilience is more important than ever. We live in a world marked by uncertainty and rapid change. The global economy can shift overnight, personal tragedies can strike unexpectedly, and unforeseen challenges, whether health-related or social, can disrupt our lives. The question is not whether adversity will come, but how we respond to it. Take, for example, the global response to the COVID-19 pandemic. In the face of immense challenges, businesses, governments, and individuals showed remarkable resilience. Some businesses pivoted to new models, others embraced remote work and digital transformation, and many governments took swift action to protect public health. While the crisis is far from over, the ability to adapt and respond with resilience has been one of the defining features of this era. Resilience doesn't mean ignoring the difficulties of life, it means facing them head-on, learning from them, and finding ways to rebuild stronger than before. This lesson, so deeply embedded in ancient wisdom, is a call to action for all of us, to embrace the challenges we face and use them as stepping stones toward a better future. The importance of vision, guiding the future with ancient insights. In addition to resilience, ancient prophecies also teach us the importance of vision, the ability to see beyond the present moment and envision a future that is shaped by our actions today. The ancient seers were not only predicting what would happen, they were offering us a vision of what could be, urging us to take responsibility for shaping our own destinies. In the modern world, this vision is crucial. As we face environmental, economic, and social challenges, we must be able to see beyond the immediate crisis and imagine a world where we have addressed these issues effectively. This vision must guide our decisions, whether in business, politics, or personal life. Take, for example, the growing movement for sustainability. Prophecies of the past, like those of the Mayans and Egyptians, emphasized the importance of balance with nature and the consequences of ignoring the natural world. Today, the vision of a sustainable future, one where humanity coexists harmoniously with the environment, drives efforts to combat climate change, reduce waste, and protect biodiversity. In business, visionaries like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos are shaping the future by investing in renewable energy, space exploration, and innovative technologies. Their ability to envision a better world, one that transcends the limitations of today, has positioned them as leaders in industries that will define the future. Similarly, businesses that adopt a forward-thinking, visionary mindset are better equipped to thrive in an uncertain and rapidly changing world. Embracing the wisdom of the past. As we move forward, we must learn to embrace the wisdom of the past while forging our own path. The ancient prophecies are not just relics of a bygone era, they are timeless lessons that continue to resonate with us today. By understanding the patterns of history, the dangers of hubris, the power of resilience, and the importance of vision, we can navigate the complexities of the modern world with greater clarity and purpose. The ancient seers may have looked into the future, but it is up to us to shape that future with the wisdom they left behind. By applying these lessons to our lives, businesses, and societies, we can ensure that the legacy of the past guides us toward a brighter, more sustainable, and more prosperous future. As we come to the end of this journey through ancient prophecies and their relevance to our modern world, it becomes clear that these prophecies are not merely relics of the past, they are timeless guides, offering wisdom that transcends centuries. The seers, priests, and visionaries of ancient civilizations were not just looking into the future, they were providing us with insights that, if understood and applied properly, can help us navigate the complexities of our present and shape a better future for ourselves and the generations to come. The central lesson we can take from these ancient prophecies is the idea that change is inevitable. Whether it's the rise and fall of empires, the cycles of nature, or the shifting tides of human history, change is constant, but it is how we respond to this change that determines our fate. The seers understood this fundamental truth, and through their prophecies, they called upon us to be aware, to be prepared, and to act with wisdom. In a world that is rapidly changing, where technology advances at an unprecedented rate and global events unfold in real time, it's easy to feel like we are at the mercy of forces beyond our control. But just as the ancient prophets gazed into the future and recognized patterns, we too can learn to recognize the signs of change around us. By understanding these patterns, we can better navigate the challenges that arise and position ourselves for success. One of the most powerful lessons these prophecies offer is the importance of resilience. Throughout history, civilizations have faced calamities, whether natural disasters, wars, or internal corruption, but many have managed to rebuild and emerge stronger. It is not the ability to avoid adversity that makes a civilization or an individual successful, but the ability to learn from hardship, to adapt, and to grow stronger in the face of adversity. In our own lives, resilience is an essential quality. We will all face obstacles, some of which may seem insurmountable, but it is how we respond to those obstacles that defines us. Just as the ancient Egyptians rebuilt their empire time and time again, or the Romans endured the chaos of their empire's decline, we too can bounce back from challenges, stronger and wiser. Equally important is the lesson about humility. The ancient prophecies warn us against the dangers of hubris, of believing that we are invincible or that success will last forever. As we look at the successes of businesses, governments, and individuals today, it's clear that those who thrive in the long run are not those who rest on their laurels, but those who remain humble, adaptable, and always looking for ways to improve. Think of the companies that have come to dominate the modern world: Apple, Amazon, Tesla. These businesses didn't just get comfortable with their success. They continuously innovated, adapted to new circumstances, and remained humble in the face of their challenges. And in the same way, we must be vigilant and aware of the changes happening around us. We must learn from the lessons of the past and use them as a guide to avoid the traps of overconfidence and stagnation. Furthermore, the importance of vision cannot be overstated. The ancient seers looked beyond the immediate horizon and imagined a future that was shaped by their actions in the present. Today, we too must have a vision for the future, a vision that is grounded in reality but also reaches for something greater. Whether it's in business, politics, or our personal lives, the ability to see beyond the immediate challenges and imagine a better world is what drives innovation and progress. In business, those with a clear vision for the future are the ones who will lead the way. Just as visionaries like Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, and Jeff Bezos have shaped industries that once seemed impossible, their foresight allowed them to anticipate future needs and position themselves at the forefront of technological and economic shifts. Similarly, in our personal lives, having a vision for where we want to be in the future helps us make the right decisions today, even when the path forward may seem unclear. As we look back at the ancient prophecies, it becomes clear that they were not just predictions of specific events, but reflections on the human condition. They were about understanding the rhythms of life, the cycles of nature, and the patterns of human behavior. These insights, when applied thoughtfully, can help us navigate the complexities of modern life with wisdom and clarity. But perhaps the most profound message of all is the recognition that we are not passive observers of the world around us. Just as the ancient seers saw themselves as active participants in shaping the future, so too must we take responsibility for the world we are creating today. We are not merely recipients of fate, we are the architects of our future. The challenge, then, is not just to recognize the patterns and cycles of change, but to actively engage with them. To learn from the past, adapt to the present, and create a future that reflects the best of what we've learned along the way. As we move forward, let us take the lessons of the past to heart. Let us remember the resilience of those who came before us, the humility they displayed in the face of power, and the vision they had for a better world. And let us apply these lessons to our own lives, so that we can navigate the uncertainties of the future with strength, wisdom, and purpose. The ancient prophecies were not just warnings, they were calls to action. Calls to recognize the cycles of change, to learn from history, and to shape a better future. The fulfillment of these prophecies is not just about the events that came to pass, it is about how we use the wisdom of the past to create a future that is brighter, more sustainable, and more just. In the end, the true meaning of these ancient prophecies lies not in their mystical predictions but in the lessons they offer us. They teach us that we are not powerless in the face of change, but that we are capable of shaping our destiny. And in that, there is hope, a hope that we can build a better future, guided by the wisdom of the past.